kilometers away. There's certain areas where there's lots of hills. But that said, if I go that way, it's only 28 kilometers to Otter Lake, but it's hills almost the entire way. Like it's you know what I mean? Like that would take me longer to go there than it would take me to go to, say, Low, which would be about the same distance. It'd take me probably twice as long just because of the hills. Because the hills on something like this, you go down to like 2 or 3 kilometers an hour. So you have to pick the right route, obviously, to be able to do that kind of distance. But that said, you know, I am going to upgrade bikes at some point. I'm going to work on the car today. Today's kind of, I got a bunch of things. I got to get my $315 camera or phone, cell phone. I got to call the Wally Mart and tell them, hey, look, I can't get into this, you know, phone because I was supposed to be able, you know, like my menu is not the same as everybody else's that I see online. There's something different. You just can't get past it. I need a QR code or something. Can you know, help me out that way? Because I don't want to have to spend another 60 bucks of gas just to drop off the phone to either get another one or come back with nothing. Like, I mean, I would be blogging with a brand new phone, cell phone right now. Like I have it at home, you know what I mean? Like it's like I can't get it to work, you know. But if I can get that to work today, I'll be very, very, very happy. You guys will be happy because you'll see better, you know, better quality content. Not by much, but you'll get to see that. But the other thing too is that what was I going to say? The idea of you know, like buying a new bike versus building the bikes that I have, like that. Batakia only needs a rear brake system and basically just a change of sprockets and a rear axle. That's it. That's all it needs. Like I'd like to upgrade like the bearings and stuff like that, but the bearings were okay. So that bike is like close to finish. It's just finding the parts. But without the car, I can't drive anywhere to, you know, spend an afternoon in a used bike shop going through the parts bins and seeing, you know, what I could piece together. Because that thing only weighs 21 pounds. It's probably about a third of what this bike weighs. That bike will fly. That bike, I'm not saying I could compete with the guys' levels in the Tour de France from yesterday, you know, stage 1, but it would make it. You know, the bike would make it. I would make it on the bike. It'd probably take me 6 or 7 hours, but probably more like 8 hours to do that distance, just because of the shape I'm in. But if you gave it to the winner yesterday, he'd probably still finish within the allotted time of under 4 hours with even a bike that old, just because it weighs 21.5 pounds. So his bike probably weighs like 16 pounds or whatever. The 6.8 kilograms is like 15.5, 16 pounds. Yeah, about a quarter of what this weighs. So yeah, weight does make a huge difference. But the reason why I know this is because I've had mostly all my life heavy bikes like this. I mean, I had a motocross bike when I was 9 that was a single speed. It was the black one with the number 9 on it, with the, looked like a motorcycle tank. It had rear shocks, big bench seat. It looked like a motorcycle, and then, you know, had you know, the telescoping forks like a motorcycle. It was like a moped with no engine, but it looked like a dirt bike, right? It had the fenders and everything. And that thing weighed 70 pounds. It was like 68, 69, 70 pounds. That sucker was heavy. I used to pedal that everywhere, but that's when I was a kid. You know, and it was a single speed. That's the big one. It was a single speed with just the what do you call it, the drum brake there in the back. Used to like those. Yeah, so that's most of the heavy bikes. Then I got the Peugeot years ago. That thing was, it was light. I think it was like 19 or 20 pounds. It was light, even though it was an old bike. Then my Norco, it started off at 27 pounds. And I'm kind of remembering better now what it was between my roommate and I. So he had, God knows what the bike was. These were like parts bins bikes, basically out of the garbage, right? So every garbage night when we were unemployed, because it was a recession in the 90s, we'd go out looking for bike parts, right? So I found a Norco frame, a Norco Monterey, And it found the wheel. All it needed was the wheels and a rear derailleur, and I found that, no problem. And it started off at 27 pounds. Okay, I got it down to 24 pounds. That's okay. So a 24-pound bike flies. It's not the lightest, Mr. Nico. It's not the lightest, but it does fly, right? Like it's fast, you know. And then my buddy got his bike down to 21 pounds, and his bike was always out accelerated mine. We had the same size tires, 32s, 630s on there, whatever. And his bike would always out accelerate mine, especially on the hills, right? But my Peugeot would accelerate that bike, but that bike was too tall for it because that had 700s on it, right? Somebody go cut grass. Dragging the chains, get some sparks going. I know people that let their chains drag. I don't let mine drag. I just like, but at least an inch above the ground, because you go grab those things after, they're freaking hot. You can wear through them. You can wear through them, just so you know. But yeah, so I've had light bikes, I've had heavy bikes, and I've had friends that have had really light bikes. I've never tried an aero bike. I've never tried a fixie velodrome bike, but like single speed bikes that are not necessary. You know, people call them fixies, but they're not. A fixie, you can pedal forward or back. So the only closest I ever did that was my cousin's BMX, where you could pedal it forward and backwards. That was a fixie, okay? But that was also a stunt bike, you know. Trying to go to the neighboring town on a BMX, I've done it once. I'll never do it again. That is the slowest thing you could possibly do. Tiny tires, and I don't know what kind of time that would have took me. It would have been slower than this for sure. This thing's actually quite fast for what it is, you know, for what it is. But if it was half the weight, or if you get this thing down to say 30 pounds, you could ride it all day, no problem, because you'd be able to maintain your speed. What happens is, as soon as you start to back off and just kind of like do like a relaxation pedal, you can't do it with these things. They're too heavy, you know. And it's not that it's not working right, it's actually functioning good, but it's, you know, plus my front wheel's a little bit out of alignment because of the front end's crooked from whoever crashed it. But the thing with something like this is that the weight does matter, is the point I'm getting at. So could you do the Tour de France on it just as a, you know, like a single, you know, open class? Okay. How long would it take you to do 184 kilometers? You know, 185 kilometers, whatever the, you know, whatever it was yesterday in stage one. It would take a long time on this. Doable, yes. And you probably could do it without puncturing a tire. I don't know about what would happen when you got to the cobblestone part, but that was the big thing. The guys were blowing tires left, right, and center. Because, you know, it's just, you know, but then they have a car behind them with bikes. One guy had a problem with his seat. Don't have to tell me about that. Things get, you know, rattle loose. Like, there's a lot of forces on a bike on just a paved road, let alone doing mixed gravel and paved, right? There's another race going on now in my area. It's gravel bike stuff. So I'm going to have a look at that, you know, and it's interesting because these guys are pushing the bikes so hard that things are going to break, right? Now, mind you, I can lighten this bike up by just taking all the heavy stuff off of it. But then it kills the character of the bike, right? Like what is the weight of that back rack? What are the weight of those fenders? You know, I mean, there's probably 5 pounds right there, 10 pounds right there. But just the crank in this thing is going to weigh 10 pounds. You know, believe it or not, it's going to be probably about that heavy. The derailleur is, you know, that thing's all steel. You know, you put a aluminum one on there, you know, the weight helps you keep your cadence up. So, lightweight is what you want. But anyway, on something like this, I'm not going to, you know, bother putting any money into it, but it is fun to drive. I just ride, but I just wish I didn't have to ride it so far. But yeah, but the Bottecchia, yeah, that could finish the, even with me on it, I'd be very close to finishing. You know, if I had some training, I could probably finish within the allotted time with some training. Without training, would take me probably 6 hours to do what those guys did in 4. You know what I mean? Just because of the difference in level. And it's weird because Like, to gain like 1 minute of time, you know, that might be a 3 pound difference in a bike to gain 1 minute of time, 3 to 6 pounds. So the weight does matter. The rider matters the most, but the weight does matter, right? So if you take the same rider, put him on a bike that's same aerodynamics, everything like that, but just 3 pounds heavier, he's probably over the same course, he's probably going to be about a minute faster. Give or take, you know, like like just as an example, maybe he's 40 seconds faster, maybe he's a minute 3 seconds faster, whatever, but he's going to be faster on the lighter bike every time. This is where the argument aero versus ultralight comes in, because at some point the aerodynamics doesn't overtake the weight. You know, like the aerodynamics wins on the flat almost all the time, but if you take two aero bikes, okay, aerodynamics each, and the lighter bike on the same flat, usually going to win, right? So when you do apples to apples comparison, so what you want is the most aerodynamic bike that weighs the least it can weigh, which is I think 6.8 kilograms, which is like 15, 16 pounds, which is pretty, like anything lighter than that, you're begging for structural integrity problems. But bottom line, yeah, weight matters. It was interesting watching the race, watching the reliability issues, watching the crashes, the skill level of guys to stay in the pelodrome. You know, especially the guys like right in the center. Like those guys can't make any mistakes at all, because if they do, they kill everybody, right? Very interesting watching the strategies and stuff like that, how the teams were working together, how the